Starry night, the moon is bright, we'll sing a happy song. Wow, spot!
Hello everyone, this is Lisa Chan talking from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Let's continue to recite Alice in Wonderland. Today our episode will be about the second half of the chapter, the Mock Turtle's story. They very soon came upon a Gryphon, lying fast asleep in the sun. If you don't know what a Gryphon is, look at the picture that is showing on our blog post in www.spot.ca. Up, lazy thing, said the queen, and take this young lady to see the Mock Turtle, and to hear his story. I must go back and see after some executions I have ordered. And she walked off, leaving Alice alone with the Gryphon. Alice did not quite like the look of the creature, but on the whole, she thought it would be quite as safe to stay with it as to go after that savage queen. So she waited. By the way, let's make a little interruption here. A Gryphon is a mythical animal who looks like a lion with wings. Okay, so let's continue. The Gryphon sat up and rubbed its eyes. Then it watched the queen till she was out of sight. Then it chuckled. What fun, said the Gryphon, half to itself, half to Alice. What is the fun? Said Alice. Why, she, said the Gryphon, it's all her fancy that they never execute nobody, you know. Come on. Everybody says come on here, thought Alice, as she went slowly after it. I never was so ordered about before in all my life. Never. They had not gone far before they saw the Mock Turtle in the distance, sitting sad and lonely on a little ledge of rock. And as they came near, Alice could hear him sighing as if his heart would break. She pitied him deeply. What is his sorrow? She asked the Gryphon, and the Gryphon answered very nearly in the same words as before. It's all his fancy that he hasn't got no sorrow, you know. Come on. So they went up to the Mock Turtle, who looked at them with large eyes full of tears but said nothing. This here young lady, said the Gryphon, she wants for to know your history, she do. I'll tell it her, said the Mock Turtle in a deep, hollow tone. Sit down, both of you, and don't speak a word till I've finished. So they sat down, and nobody spoke for some minutes. Alice thought to herself, I don't see how he can ever finish if he doesn't begin. But she waited patiently. Once, said the Mock Turtle, at last with a deep sigh, I was a real turtle. These words were followed by a very long silence, broken only by an occasional exclamation of hishuk from the Gryphon, and the constant heavy sobbing of the Mock Turtle. Alice was very nearly getting up and saying, Thank you, sir, for your interesting story. But she could not help thinking there must be more to come, so she sat still and said nothing. When we were little, the Mock Turtle went on at last, more calmly and though still sobbing a little now and then, we went to school in the sea. The master was an old turtle. We used to call him Tortoise. Why did you call him Tortoise if he wasn't one? Alice asked. We called him Tortoise because he taught us, said the Mock Turtle angrily. Really, you are very dull. You ought to be ashamed of yourself for asking such a simple question, added the Gryphon. And then they both sat silent and looked at poor Alice, who felt ready to sink into the earth. At last, the Gryphon said to the Mock Turtle, "Drive on, old fellow. Don't be all day about it." And he went on in these words. "Yes, we went to school in the sea, though you may not believe it." "I never said I didn't," interrupted Alice. "You did," said the Mock Turtle. "Hold your tongue," added the Gryphon. Before Alice could speak again, the Mock Turtle went on. "We had the best of education. In fact, we went to school every day." "I've been to day school too," said Alice. "You needn't be so proud as all that." "With extras?" asked the Mock Turtle a little anxiously. "Yes," said Alice. "We learned French and music." "And washing?" said the Mock Turtle. "Certainly not," said Alice indignantly. "Ah, then yours wasn't a really good school," said the Mock Turtle in a tone of great relief. "Now, at ours, they had at the end of the bill French, music, and washing extra." "You couldn't have wanted it much," said Alice, "living at the bottom of the sea." "I couldn't afford to learn it," said the Mock Turtle with a sigh. "I only took the regular course." "What was that?" inquired Alice. "Reeling and writhing, of course, to begin with," the Mock Turtle replied. "And then the different branches of arithmetics, ambition, distraction, uglification, and derision." "I never heard of uglification," Alice ventured to say. "What is it?" The Gryphon lifted up both its paws in surprise. "What? Never heard of uglifying?" it exclaimed. "You know what to beautify is, I suppose?" "Yes," said Alice doubtfully. "It means to make anything prettier." "Well then," the Gryphon went on, "if you don't know what to uglify is, you are a simpleton." Alice did not feel encouraged to ask any more questions about it, so she turned to Mock Turtle and said, "What else had you to learn?" "Well, there was mystery," the Mock Turtle replied, counting off the subjects on his flappers. "Mystery, ancient and modern, with theology, then drawing. The drawing master was an old conjurer that used to come once a week. He taught us drawing, stretching, and fainting in coils." "What was that like?" said Alice. "Well, I can't show it you myself," the Mock Turtle said. "I'm too stiff, and the Gryphon never learned it." "Hadn't time," said the Gryphon. "I went to the classical master, though. He was an old crab, he was." "I never went to him," the Mock Turtle said with a sigh. "He taught laughing and grief, they used to say." So he did," said the Gryphon, signing in his turn, and both creatures hid their faces in their paws. And how many hours a day did you do lessons? Said Alice, in a hurry to change the subject. 10 hours the first day, said the Mock Turtle. 9 the next, and so on. What a curious plan, exclaimed Alice. That's the reason they're called lessons, the Gryphon remarked, because they lesson from day to day. This was quite a new idea to Alice, and she thought it over a little before she made her next remark. Then the 11th day must have been a holiday. Of course it was, said the Mock Turtle. And how did you manage on the 12th? Alice went on eagerly. That's enough about lessons, the Gryphon interrupted in a very decided tone. Tell her something about the games now. Okay, in this conversation between the Gryphon and Mock Turtle and Alice, we learned a lot about how they actually did a lot of witty things in exchange of their thoughts. I think I found one is about the lessons. It's very funny that they say why we call a lesson because the first day you take 10 hours, the second day you take just 9 hours, and the following day, -1. And Alice was very smart to say that. So what do you do on the 11th day? Literally, it's 0 hours and you take a holiday. On our previous episode, we talked about the author, Lewis Carroll himself was a mathematics student in Oxford. So apparently he put some mathematics in this story. I find that very interesting. And another witty thing in this conversation was about the tortoise. When the Mock Turtle told Alice his teacher was a tortoise, and Alice said that. Why is he called tortoise? And then the Mock Turtle said that, well, because he taught us. So taught us sounds very, very similar or almost the same as tortoise. So I wonder if our listeners actually discovered that. I found that very interesting. There was one more thing. It's about, I found very witty, was about when the Mock Turtle told Alice about a very, very precious and valuable lesson he took in his education was about washing. And Alice was being funny, answering, well, I don't think you need to learn that because you literally live under the sea. I really enjoyed this part of the story, the very interesting conversation between this. Of course, we know Alice in Wonderland is categorized as literature of nonsense. So there are lots of things in the story you couldn't really see the logic of it, but still we do learn something about the witty things they talk about between the characters. I hope you enjoy this part of the story as much as I do. We're going to continue our story, Alice in Wonderland, in our next episode. We're still going to have 3 more chapters to go before we finish the entire story. Our next chapter will be The Lobster Quadrille and Who Stole the Tars. And the very last chapter will be Alice's evidence. I wonder what is gonna happen at the end of the story. I hope you stay with us all the way, and don't forget to follow us if you are listening to our story on Spotify. And thank you so much for you who have been following us and being with us for this long story of Alice in Wonderland. Before we finish, we'd like to share again with you our plot song, Dina, Dina, if you haven't listened to our previous episode. And after that, I have to say to all of you, thank you again for following us and listening to us. We will see you again very soon.
see. This world is full of fantasy. Dina, Dina, there is no cat just like you. Dina, Dina, come to see me in my dream. Dina, you know you are my best friend. Dina, how much I miss your purr. I wonder what I have come to see. This place is full of curious things. Dina, Dina, there is no cat just like you. Dina, Dina, come to see me in my dream.
Starry night, the moon is bright, we'll sing a happy song. Wow, a spot!